Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today we'll be having a short update on the tropics here. We got Hurricane Sam, or at least I should say Major Hurricane Sam. We got area to watch here, northeast of Bermuda. And there's also two other systems that they tried to develop in the main development region as well. We're also going to talk about the upcoming pattern. The upcoming pattern could bring in more very warm temperatures and also drier than normal conditions across parts of the northern plains, upper Midwest, and the Great Lakes. Also, there will be some rain and even snow in the mountains across the Northwest as well over the next couple of days. So we're going to get started with the tropics here, and what we got going on then again, we got Major Hurricane Sam, we got area developed to watch up there, which is currently has some convection to work with up there, and then you got this big mass of just stormy weather, lots of shower and thunderstorm activity down there. There's a lot of moisture, and there's supposedly going to be two different systems that may try to develop within that mass there. We'll have a better look on that when we look into the National Hurricane Center outlook here. You can see here, with that disturbance, then that may need to be monitored just in the northeast of Bermuda, and it has a well-defined low pressure system about 350 miles east northeast of Bermuda. It's expected to be short-lived anyway. Has a 50% chance of developing in the next 40 hours and 5 days. And then you should check out these two disturbances here. One of these is MS 90L and the other one is 91L. It's going to be hard to tell the difference here. Uh, but both of these have a pretty high chance of developing. It could develop as early as today or tomorrow. At least a tropical depression seems likely to develop on this one right here. It's almost been a little bit on the aggressive side with this one here. This one here has a slightly lower chance, but also has a decent chance of developing as well. Meanwhile, we also got Hurricane Sam with winds of 130 miles per hour with pressure 952 millibars. It's died down quite a bit, and the reason why it has died down a lot is because it's what's called the ERAWC, something like that, and it's really interrupt Hurricane Sam. It's really trying to kind of make a comeback with that. It's trying to redevelop. It got down as low as a Category 3 hurricane, but we're now back to a Category 4. But it's going to be running to some wind shear later on down the road. And that'll keep Sam at least on a downtrend with its strength. However, it'll be getting pretty close to Bermuda as well. But even after Bermuda, Curry has no threat to land at this point. At that point, so we'll click on Sam here, and we'll check out the cone of uncertainty here. And now the good news is it has trended further east, a little bit further away from Bermuda. That's a similar situation for the Lesser Antilles. Looks like it'd be making the northern turn and the northeastern turn a little bit earlier. Typically, with a stronger system, it kind of leans a little bit further to the east. So that kind of makes some sense there. And it is expected to go by Bermuda at least a Category 3 hurricane. Eventually, by 8 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, it should be down to a Category 2 hurricane when it gets to parts of the northern Atlantic. But right now, Curry has no threat to land, but Bermuda may still need to watch the system here. Even if it goes for the center of the cone, there'll still be some impacts with this system right here. And really, the main threat will probably just be maybe some shower, thunderstorm activity, but the big threat would probably be those strong rip currents and also higher waves as well from Sam. But right now, Sam currently has no threat to land at this point. It's not going to be getting anywhere close to the United States, so we're not too worried about with the system here. However, Bermuda's babies still need to watch the system here very closely. But here's also a closer look on Sam here, and you do see here the eye is it is strengthening right now, and that kind of indicates this is getting a little bit weaker, and still has a decent convection around the system here, but it looks like it's just kind of on a weakening trend at this point here, which is some good news for Bermuda, but still not a bad system either. I mean, despite it being Category 4, you know, even though if it still dies out, it still could be a very dangerous system as well. But here's the tracks here from the hurricane models. You can see the majority of them take it pretty far to the east of Bermuda. And here's the GFS ensembles. And you do see there Also the same way, the majority of them keeps it pretty far to the east of Bermuda as well. Here's the intensity guidance. We expect this to die down over the next several days as well. I think we're going to downgrade to a Category 3 hurricane, especially with that ice strengthening. I think that's an indication that the storm is weakening. And I'll say I don't think it will recover after that point. Let's talk about some other systems. Here's Invest 90L. I believe this is further to the east, at least closer to Africa. And you can see here with the hurricane models, yeah, no threat to land. However, for the intensity guidance, the majority of them bring it to a tropical storm. Even several bring it up to a Category 1 hurricane. So it has a pretty good chance of developing, but it does not have threat to land. If we check out Invest 91L, which doesn't look any better than Invest 90L, but then again, no threat to land, and also the intensity guides, even the majority of them show a tropical storm, so that's very interesting as well. Let's check out precipitable water here, and it looks like Invest 91L may have to do some dry air later down the road. You can actually kind of tell with these wind bars. It looks to be Invest 91L right there, and then 90L, they could be approximately right here as well. So it looks like Invest 91L may have to deal with some dry air. Let me check that if I'm correct. Yeah, that is Invest 91L. Um, you kind of see here as we kind of continue on here, Invest 91L indicated by the GFS model seems like it has a hard time developing, but check out Invest 90L. Really starts to strengthen. At that point, it'd be a tropical storm, maybe even a low-end Category 1 hurricane at that point. And you can see how it continues to move up to the northeast, or the northwest, I should say. At one point, it's down to a pressure 983 millibars. A little bit impressive here. A little bit of rapid intensification there. Meanwhile, Invest 91L is not that impressive. It has some dry air around the storm, so that's going to be a limiting factor. Even for a very similar situation for Invest 90L, will also have some dry air to work with as well. But as it continues to move up to the northwest, there will be some wind shear it'll be running into, and then things will start to die down. Meanwhile, Invest 91L actually continues to move to the west here, so that'll be a one to watch here. Meanwhile, the other system here, which is Invest 90L, continues to move up to the north here. There's going to be a trough that's going to be in here, a little bit cut in between two different ridges here. There's one right here, there's another one right here. So this one here will take that advantage to move to the north. Meanwhile, the other one's going to continue to move to the west as well. But even though that continues to move off to the west, it dies out before it gets to the Lesser Antilles. Let's check out that wind shear, and you will kind of see here how these two kind of develop here. So there goes Hurricane Sam there. Here's EMS 90L, probably a Category 1 hurricane at that point. Meanwhile, the other system also has a little bit of wind shear to go through as well, but especially for Invest 90L, it's got a lot of wind shear to go through. I mean, check out all that wind shear that's off to the north. So that's definitely gonna at least calm down the storm here. And you can see what happens when it hits that wind shear. It just basically shreds it apart. So really, overall, even though it looks very active with the tropics right now, currently there's no threat to run for any of these. This one has no threat to land. Sam does not have any threat to land. In same way with MS-90 and also 91L as well. So there's nothing really to worry about these systems here, at least for several days here. But I may need to watch this one here as well, since it has a little bit more of a westward track here versus the other ones that continue to move up to the north as well. So we may need to watch Invest 91L as well. So that's it for the tropics. Let's talk about a little closer to home here. We're going to check out the 500 millibar height anomalies. This is where you can see your troughs and ridges. And as of right now, we currently have a ridge that builds up across parts of the northern plains. That's going to bring it well above normal temperatures across parts of the Dakotas and Minnesota and Montana as well. Meanwhile, there's a big trough that moves in across parts of the northwest. The downside about this here is when you're between a trough and a ridge, you can get some stronger winds that come from the southwest to that move from southwest to northeast. And that could definitely enhance some of those wildfires. Some of those wildfires may move a little bit quicker, so that's not any good news there. But just within the trough here, there's actually going to be some showers and thunderstorm activity, and even for some snow in the higher elevations, which is some good news there. So there's some bad and some good news with this setup here. But as we continue to play this, you'll start to notice here, this ridge here just kind of sits there. And you'll start to see that really amplifies. Especially when you get up to Canada, you'll start to see some brighter colors that will show up across a good chunk of Canada. That will indicate that will be a very strong ridge, and that can lead to some well above normal temperatures out there. And some of those temperatures can reach record high territory. Meanwhile, across the west, there's two different troughs here. You got one moving in across parts of the northwest, and then there's another one down around New Mexico. And really, any of these could bring in shower and thunderstorm activity, and even a chance for some snow in the higher elevations. Maybe not so much for this one down here, but this one up here will definitely bring some snow in those higher elevations. With some places could see some snowfall accumulations up there. Meanwhile, there's another trough up across the northeast. That's going to make things on the cooler side of things. Just watch this. Watch how this ridge just amplifies. Yeah. If this is were to be correct here, we'll probably see well above normal temperatures, probably some record highs if I were to verify. Meanwhile, across the northeast, we still got a trough there, and then maybe a cutoff low up there. There's also another cutoff low in Arizona and New Mexico that could lead to some shower thunderstorm activity down there. Meanwhile, seems like the show's kind of over for the northwest, and things may turn a little bit drier, which is not any good news there. And then the ridge just really takes over across most of the north, except for the northeastern United States. But then you start to know something that kind of happens off to the west. As that ridge really starts to amplify across the north, look off the west coast here. A trough starts to build, and that may lead to some shower and thunderstorm activity, at least along the west coast. Unfortunately, it may be too far west to see some showers and thunderstorms a little bit further inland, but we'll see how the trends go. Meanwhile, the ridge starts to move a little further to the east, and then it's the northeast turn to get very warm temperatures, and that could lead to some record highs as well. So really, for early October, we're probably going to see well above normal temperatures across the north, and some places could see record highs as well. Meanwhile, across the south, it's at least the temperatures are not, probably won't be as warm, but there will be more shower and thunderstorm activity that will keep those temperatures a little bit on the cooler side of things as well. If we actually check out the precipitation, you'll kind of see here how things go here. And you'll notice here a couple systems will move on shore into British Columbia, and that'll bring in some snow in the higher elevations. Meanwhile, in the lower elevations, could see some showers where some of them could produce heavy rain. But it doesn't last very long. Really, after, let's say, Saturday, things turn on the drier side. You also notice here as we move into this weekend here, I believe that's a cutoff low that's set up in the Great Lakes region. That brings some shower thunderstorm activity across parts of the Great Lakes, and then moves down to the Mississippi River Valley as well. And even for the Arley, Texas region. And you kind of see this pattern here where we're probably going to see some shower thunderstorm activity. And most of it will probably be scattered across parts of the Great Lakes region, upper Midwest, and maybe even for across parts of the Northeast, as well with some of these low pressure systems passing over some of the same areas. But you also do notice here there will be active shower thunderstorm activity across parts of the Southern Plains, and maybe even up to across parts of the Central Plains as well, and even moves to across parts of the Desert Southwest as well. Some of these places actually need some rain, so this is actually some good news there as well. Okay, while that loads, let's check out the GFS model here. And as we kind of play this through here, you'll see a couple of cutoff lows across the south. You'll start to see the ridge amplify across the north. Really a deep trough in the northeast, though. But that cutoff low still sticks around across parts of New Mexico and Texas, Eventually, that kind of fades away over time. Typically, of cutoff lows, they die down over time when they're cut off from the jet stream. But check out that ridge up at Canada. That's a, a very impressive ridge up there, and that's maxed out on the scale here. That's pretty ridiculous there of how strong that ridge is going to be. Of how strong that ridge is going to be there. Uh, then you see this cutoff low kind of develops into parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. That'll kind of move a little further to the east, as well to parts of the lower Ohio Valley region. And then here's some good news here for the Northwest. You start to see this big trough that develops across parts of the Northwest as well that could bring some shower and thunderstorm activity as well. So it's a little different than from the European model. The European model has things a little bit slower, but then again, the GFS is a little bit progressive. So I'll say some of the stuff here will probably be a little bit slower. So I'll say the European model may be a little bit more accurate. But here's the GFS model here. Let me actually set this up real quick to winter weather and total snowfall accumulation really quick. And then let's kind of play this out here. You kind of see here as we kind of play this out, some mountain snow across parts of the Northwest and even to parts of Colorado as well. Could see some snow in the higher elevations. Shower thunderstorm activity continues across parts of the Great Lakes to parts of the Northeast and the Southern Plains and the Central Plains. Some shower thunderstorm activity continues across parts of the Southeast as well. Then again, this could change as well, and then you kind of see a little bit of a cutoff low across parts of the East as well towards the 10-day period as well. So let me switch that over to. Wait, that was the wrong one. Total snowfall accumulations with the 10-to-1 scale, and then this one here, doing this very quickly. Let's kind of check out the total rainfall, the rainfall amounts here. We'll go to the next 10 days here. You kind of see where most of your shower thunderstorm activity is going to be here. Seems to say pretty active across most of the plains and even across parts of the Great Lakes in the northeast as well. Meanwhile, so the drier areas will be across parts, some of the Rockies as well. Not everybody in the Rockies will see rain and snow. Keep in mind that even for parts of the southeast stays on the drier side, but let's kind of back up to the next 5 days. And you kind of see here, over the next 5 days, the southeast stays dry, even for across parts of the southwest, even moves up to across parts of the Rockies. But then again, you can kind of tell where some of the most activity will be over the next 5 days. And that'll be in the higher elevations in the northwest and also across parts of the plains as well. If you check out snow over the next 5 days, you kind of see here, look at the Rockies. Some snow, especially across the mountains of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and Idaho. Could see some snow in the mountains. And does show some snowfall belts. Could be up to 6 inches in some places. Maybe a little bit high on the snowfall totals, but then again, either way, there'll be some snow in those higher elevations as well. So that's going to be very interesting as well. Here's the GFS model here for the next 5 days for rainfall totals. And you can see here, very wet across Texas with 2 to 4 inches of rain. Even some places can see up to 5 inches of rain. That moves up into parts of the mid-Mississippi River Valley as well. You also see the far northwest part of the United States could see a decent amount of rain as well. Meanwhile, everywhere else kind of stays, it's either scattered shower thunderstorm activity or it's staying mostly dry across the rest of the United States. And if you check out for snowfall over the next 5 days, very snowy in the mountains of British Columbia. I mean, over 3 feet. That's a lot of snow up there. Meanwhile, across the Rockies in Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado, you can see a decent amount of snow up there. You even show some snow across parts of northern Nevada, which is very interesting as well. I think those snowfall accumulations will be on the lower end as well. But really overall, some of these places will likely see some snow over the next 5 days here. But really after that, we're not really expecting much in the way of snow. Maybe till when the next trough moves in. in the 10-day period. But we'll see what happens there from there. And you can see here, so we kind of move a little further out, some more snow may come in into mid-October as well. Here's the comprehensive outlook here. So this is the 6 to 10-day temperature outlook. Stay warm across the west and the north, even for parts of the eastern United States as well. Staying on the cooler side across parts of New Mexico and Texas, and even for southern Florida. Here's precipitation for the next on days 6 through 10. And staying dry across the north, meanwhile across the south, either at average or slightly above normal with precipitation. 8 to 14 days, you'll start to see that trough that will try to move in across parts of the northwest. So you guys may stay on the cooler side of things. Meanwhile, the rest of the United States stays a little bit on the warmer side, especially across parts of the Great Lakes and the upper Midwest. Meanwhile, for precipitation, things start to get a little bit wetter across parts of the four quarter states and for parts of the Southwest as well. They even moves to across parts of the plains. And things may stay dry or at least at average across the north, even down along the Mississippi River Valley as well. And some places around the Carolina vicinity could see some slightly above normal precipitation as well. So really overall, across the north, probably stay at least on the very mild side. There'll be some warm and dry periods. Meanwhile, across parts of the plains in the four corner states, stays a little bit cooler and wet. In the northwest, will have their fair share of chances of seeing some rain and snow. Even across the rest of the Rockies, could see some snow as well. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button if you already like my channel. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, leave the comment section down below. I'll answer you guys questions. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.